The first time I squeezed a trigger on my ranch wasn't for sport or practice. It was to defend what I'd built from a man who had no claim to be there. And the worst part, he wasn't some thief or wanderer or lost traveler. He was a neighborhood officer, a self-declared lawman from a housing tract. That didn't even touch my boundary. Before we get into it, drop in the comments where you're listening from. Let's see how far this story rides. When I first settled out here in Dust Hollow, I figured I'd escaped all that subdivision foolishness. My spread stretched across 50 acres of dry pasture and mesquite scrub ground I'd earned, and a home I'd raised board by board. Out here, I expected calm, just the shuffle of deer before sunrise, and the low drift of cattle come sundown. But the association next door had other notions. At first, it was small stuff. A white SUV labeled Community Patrol, creeping slow along my fence line. The driver jotting notes on a pad. I'd find flyers jammed into my gate, saying my wire posts weren't compliant, or my sheds clashed with their standards. Nonsense. Their reach ended at their streetlights. They held no power here. I laughed it off until the messages turned mean. Folks nearby whispered about some so-called community cop, bragging he could straighten out my place if he felt like it. I ignored it until the afternoon I caught him at the edge of my property, broad daylight, vest on, arms folded, staring like he owned the soil beneath his boots. His stance was meant to rattle me. It didn't end there. A week later, while I was tossing feed to the herd, Luna, my German Shepherd mix, bolted toward the fence, barking sharp and steady. She wasn't mean, just on guard. The neighborhood enforcer smirked, pulled a small notebook from his vest, and said, "This animal's a violation. Aggressive breed. Community code forbids it." I froze, then chuckled. "You've lost your mind. This is my land. Your bylaws stop miles before my gate." He didn't even flinch, just kept scribbling, as if my words were dust on the wind. Then he turned and muttered, "Rules are rules." That phrase stuck like a splinter. Rules? Whose rules? He had zero authority here, no right to even breathe my airspace. Yet he strutted around, like judge, jury, and sheriff combined. The more I stewed on it, the more I realized it wouldn't stop unless I confronted it head on. So I drove into town, parked by the shiny brick building that housed their association offices, and stepped inside. Behind a wide oak desk sat the president, Clara Winslow. Polished smile, cold eyes. "Clara," I began, keeping steady, "your so-called officer has been trespassing, harassing me, and calling my dog illegal. You and I both know my ranch isn't under your community's thumb." Her grin didn't fade. If anything, it sharpened to a blade. "Mr. Rourke," she replied smoothly, "Agent Cole is performing his duty. Your property may not fall under our signature zone, but your acreage borders Silver Mesa Estates. Your activities affect our residents, property values, safety, even appearance. Your dog barking at the fence is a hazard. Your fencing doesn't meet code. Agent Cole is well within his rights to document such concerns." I leaned on her desk, voice low. "No, he's not. You and I both know. Your charter ends at your boundary. You've got no jurisdiction over me, my animals, or my land." Her expression stiffened, though her tone stayed honey-sweet. "Sometimes the lines on a map don't reflect the bigger picture. Cole understands that. He's not bothering you. He's protecting the neighborhood. If you're wise, you'll cooperate instead of resisting." Protecting the neighborhood? I shot back. By trespassing? By threatening my dog? She slid a folder across the desk. Inside the folder were photos, my fence, my barn, even a blurred picture of Luna. Every angle had a timestamp and a note. "Documentation," Clara said, smooth as glass. "If this escalates, this will carry more weight than what you say." A cold feeling slid under my ribs. This wasn't a mistake. This was deliberate. I pushed the folder back toward her. "You've gone too far. Clara, keep off my property and tell your officer to do the same." Her smile slipped for the first time, not fear, but a smug curl. "Careful, Mr. Rourke. Rules exist for a reason, and they catch up with people who think they're exempt." 2 days after I left Clara Winslow's office warning her about her so-called community enforcer, nothing had changed. She'd defended him, even claimed he was safeguarding the neighborhood. I should have read that as a promise it wouldn't stop at talk. I was out by the barn fixing a sag in the rail. Summer had bowed it down when Luna padded beside me like she always did. Her tail moved slow, Her nose skimmed the breeze. Cicadas hummed. The sun rode high. The scent of fresh-cut hay lay thick. Peace. That was the thing I'd fought for. Then Luna's bark cut it all to shreds. It wasn't her steady warning. This was a sharp, frantic cry threaded with fear. I dropped the driver and whipped around. The community enforcer wasn't by the road or at the fence. He was inside my yard, his boots crushing my dirt like he owned it. His vest announced Community Patrol in heavy letters. Like a uniform could invent authority. Worse, his hand was locked around Luna's collar, jerking her until she yelped. My blood flipped. "Let go of my dog," I screamed, my voice rolling over the fields. He didn't. He only curled his lip and rode in his little pad. This dog's a violation. Dangerous breed. Community standards. Forbid it. That's when I understood. This wasn't empty posturing. He wasn't just showing off. He was ready to harm her. And the law was on my side. State Penal Code 30.05 made his trespass an offense. Penal Code 42.092 put cruelty like this into felony territory. He was breaking both in front of me. I didn't stand there weighing choices. Instinct and obligation lit up in my chest. My revolver sat in the leather holster at my hip, the same place it lived while I worked the place. My hand closed around it before my brain did. The weight in my hand was familiar, solid, certain. Luna whimpered, paws scraping the dirt as she twisted to break free from his grasp. My thumb drew back the hammer, the metallic click cracking through the still air. Last warning, I told him, voice low, measured. The barrel locked on his chest. He only smirked wider, tightening his hold. Luna yelped in pain. That was the line. I squeezed the trigger. The gunshot tore through the open land, thunder rolling after it. Smoke drifted from the muzzle as the community enforcer crumpled like dropped stone. Luna bolted free, tail tucked, but alive, racing straight into my arms. I knelt, gathering her close, her heartbeat hammering against mine. The acrid sting of gunpowder sharp in the heat. He didn't move. His notebook lay twisted in the dust, pages flapping in the wind. That vest, the one that pretended to give him power, now looked like a cheap costume discarded after a bad play. Right then, I knew the line had shifted. This wasn't a feud anymore. It wasn't warnings on my gate, or smug glances from a fence line. It was blood on my ground. And when the law came knocking, I'd answer for it. Because in this state, a man protects his home. A man protects his dog. If this story's got your pulse going, tap that follow. Because it's far from over. The quiet didn't hold long. Luna pressed against my leg, ears flat, whining low. I holstered the revolver, hands steady though my chest thudded like a drum. Out here, sound carried for miles. Before the dust even settled, I heard the crunch of tires on gravel. Moments later, a county sheriff SUV rolled up my drive. 2 deputies stepped out, palms near their sidearms. They took one look at the man sprawled in the dirt, and their faces tightened. "Sir, drop the weapon," one ordered. I lifted my hand slow and sure. "It's holstered. He trespassed. He grabbed my dog." State Penal Codes 30.05 and 42.092. You know what those mean. The younger deputy crouched, pressed 2 fingers to the man's neck. "He's breathing," he said. "Out cold, but alive." The older one locked eyes with me. "You shot him." "I defended my dog," I said, calm as steel. "He had no authority to be here. Look at his vest. Community Patrol." "That's not law enforcement," I said evenly. "That's trespassing in a costume." Before either deputy could reply, a sleek black Mercedes fishtailed up the drive. Out stepped Clara Winslow, the HOA president herself, heels striking gravel like gunshots. "This is outrageous," she barked. "That man is a duly appointed community officer, and you just committed attempted murder." The older deputy spun on her. "Ma'am, I'd watch what you're saying. HOAs don't have officers. What he did qualifies as criminal impersonation at best. And if you sent him here, you're already in deep trouble." Clara's face went pale. She tried to mask it with a sneer. "Our neighborhood borders his property. That makes it community adjacent. We have the right to enforce our code." "No, you don't," the deputy cut in sharply. "You're a private homeowners association. You've got zero law enforcement authority beyond your subdivision. What happened here is trespass, animal cruelty, and an assault. And since your man was dressed up like a cop, that's a felony under State Penal Code 37.11, impersonating a public servant." For the first time, Clara went silent. The EMTs arrived, hoisting the unconscious enforcer onto a stretcher. Luna gave a low growl as they passed, and I kept my hand pressed against her back until she settled. The sheriff rolled in soon after, surveyed the scene, and confirmed what I already knew. I wasn't under arrest. Instead, Clara was escorted to a cruiser for questioning. Within a week, the fallout burned through town like dry grass in summer. The so-called patrolman was charged with criminal trespass, 30.05, animal cruelty, 42.092, impersonating a public servant, 37.11, and assault. The district attorney added aggravated harassment for his ongoing intimidation campaign against me. Clara didn't walk away clean either. Emails and board records showed she'd authorized him to patrol land well beyond their jurisdiction. That earned her charges of conspiracy, aiding and abetting impersonation, and civil liability for harassment. The HOA board panicked, lawsuits from neighbors, county fines, headlines on every local outlet. By the end of the week, they'd voted Clara out in disgrace. Membership dwindled, the money bled dry, and within 3 months, the association filed to dissolve for good. Folks I hardly knew would stop me in town just to shake my hand. One weathered rancher clapped my shoulder and said, "Son, you didn't just stand up for your dog. You stood up for all of us against that nonsense." As for the so-called officer, still recovering from the gunshot, he finally took a plea: 2 years in state prison and a lifetime ban from ever serving on any homeowner's board or neighborhood patrol. Clara faced a mountain of fines and lost her house, trying to cover the legal costs. Me? I walked Luna across my land each morning, revolver on my hip, the air clear and still again. No more flyers wedged in my gate. No more white SUVs crawling the fence line. Just quiet. The kind of quiet you only value after you've had to fight to earn it. That HOA thought they could drag their rules into my world. But out here, there's only one rule that counts. A man protects what's his.